Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of the Day 9 Daily where we learn to be a better gamer. This is episode 563 where we're looking at Grubby versus ＫiLLeR, checking out this early game where we're really just seeing essentially aggression from Grubby in multiple steps has kind of limited the options of KiLLeR. Not in a way that means KiLLeR is poor or bad or screwed or anything like that, but we can clearly see how few options KiLLeR has had. In part 2, we're going to start to see how KiLLeR begins to expand his own horizons and begin to put counter pressure back on Grubby. And we're also going to see the way that Grubby can begin to use the HOTS units for some nice tactics. I'd like to give an extra special shout out to Child Actor, who's apparently watching the show right now. Hello, Child Actor. Child Actor is the amazing musical group that has provided some music to play during the breaks. You should Google them. And until then, let me crack my neck. Excellent. So right now, just to look from the 1,000-mile view as to what's going on over here with Grubby and ＫiLLeR. Grubby has this nice 2-base setup. However, do note that the tech is not very well developed for Grubby. He's essentially an anti-roach army, which is good because he's now forced his opponent down the roaching path. So this is where some interesting tactics can come in. Now, normally in this position, the thing that I would be thinking of, especially in Wings of Liberty, is I'd be saying, holy cow, how can we get a third base? How do we get a third base? Everything in StarCraft 2 is about bases, getting more bases, all those sorts of things. So what I would probably do as Grubby is I would probably sit here and continue to apply pressure. So I would have my army here, vision of this attack path, and I would expand behind it. But then Grubby does this rather weird move. I will ignore what Zerg's doing for the moment. I want to focus on the Protoss. Notice how our Zerg has spread out bases. Here's the spread out here, here's the spread out here, here's the ridiculously good attitude pairings of both players. Both these guys are awesome, for the record. And here, see, KiLLeR has 1 base, 2 base, 3 base, kind of spread out in a disorganized pattern. So watch this nice attack play that Grubby can do. This is the key pylon right here that Grubby's planting down. He's applying pressure over here. We'll try to pick off the queen. This isn't a huge army. Grubby actually can pull back, and if he had his mothership core with a little bit more energy, he could recall. I'm not as worried about that. It's the overall concept I want to go for. This army essentially was a way to get this pylon up, which seems rather ridiculous given this game state. It actually looks like Grubby got the very bad end of the deal in that, and that's correct. But then Grubby, I will speed up just to show this very simple, very nice tactic. Grubby then moves out with his very nice mix of anti-roach forces, pushes along this right side flank where sentries, zealots, and immortals can do nice work, and we can see this whole army pulling over to defend, which it needs to do. And this permits the counterattack to kick into high gear for Grubby. Nice little tactical play. And just a nice angle advancement means he picks this off. And another nice angle advancement means he picks this off. So all of a sudden, Grubby was able to take this situation where he doesn't really have anything but anti-roach units. There's Hydras out here, but Grubby's able to knock Zerg down to 1 base. Really, really nice playthrough. But this isn't just a sort of like, I hope this wins. I want to actually show how this all links together. 4-minute mark, cannon rush, splits up these bases. The instant your opponent has split bases, you can go, oh, some tactics might be nice, but I hope he doesn't tech up to something like Mutalisks. Then no matter how cute my tactics are, he can crush me, which is why this pushing at the 10-minute mark is very useful. Pushing at the 10-minute denies extra tech. Ta-da! Here it is. Following this up, the attack at the 12-minute mark permits us a pylon down here. So that way when we commit this 14-minute attack, bump-ba-dum-da-da, we can assault here while counterattacking with zealots down there. Yes! Really nice tactic. And I would like to once again just emphasize something we didn't see that still is really critical. This mothership core, if we actually back up just a little bit, actually it won't let me back up. I have to stick at the 12-minute mark. It just cast a time bomb, which is 75 energy. This was 9 energy away from being able to recall all the way back to the base and head home. So in fact, these tactics are a lot less risky than they used to be. There's kind of a rough spot that sometimes players will end up in Wings of Liberty, where they'll move out with their Protoss army. I'm going to commit tactics! And then they just die before they ever get there. Not so good. But because we have the mothership core, we can recall very quickly. It's not time bomb, it's time warp, excuse me. Cool. So let's take a look at what's going on in the Zerg campus. See what's going down there so we can get a sense of how the Zerg is going to answer this. Now, we've been talking so much from the Protoss point of view, but now it's time to talk about from the Zerg point of view. Well, Protoss, you messed up your own tech, going not just for a cannon rush, but for this early expand. Or, oh, Jesus. You did this cannon rush, and you did this early attack. So there we go. So if I'm killer, I'm really thinking to myself, okay, there's probably not going to be Colossus coming. He might have a Twilight Council down, but, I mean, he's basically either going Blink Stalkers or Immortals. kKiLLeR brilliantly checks the expansion. In the midst of an attack, this is a hard thing to remember to do, but kKiLLeR is always excellent about nailing this sort of thing down. Okay, you're either going Immortals or Twilight Council or Expand. Okay, cool, I crossed one of those off with a single unit. So let me lock this down. Therefore, Hydralisks make a lot of sense. Why? 2 reasons. 1, he's either going Twilight Council or Immortals, and Hydras are good against that. But 2, we have spread out expansions. We can't go for something slow like Infestors, because they need to be able to defend 3 locations at once. So we're going to go Hydras. As a corollary to that, do we get speed or range first? We're going to get speed first. So here's some of this obnoxiousness. Yep, see there's the speed first. Fantastic. Really crisp play. Really nice. With speed, Hydras are very, very, very fast. A decent surround. kKiLLeR sort of knows he's in this defense mode. And we can look at the minimap and we can just sort of know that in this position what kKiLLeR really, really needs is just to check this base and check this base. Right? He's held off this attack, and what does he do? Instantly checks this base. Tries to do a little poke. See if he can run up, get into the main base. Doesn't work. But that's okay. He's denied this, and he's denied that. And he's getting 10 Hydras, and he's getting speed. So this is the moment where actually kKiLLeR is the one who has a little bit of this, a little bit more of the ball in his court. He's about to kick up into some good momentum. Soon enough, he'll be able to take this 4th base. He's getting range to be able to apply aggression. No upgrades yet, though. Maybe we'd argue that we could have snuck that in a little bit more, but I really don't care about it for the analysis of this moment. A nice bait mothership core to get this army into good position. And of course, to get this army in position. So, what you can see right now is that the one way kKiLLeR could have avoided this is pretty simple at this 1240 mark. Really just needs 1 Zergling to secure this watchtower. Just like kKiLLeR got 1 Zergling to secure this watchtower. Doink. This maybe would have caused kKiLLeR to lose just this 1 expansion, as opposed to this expansion as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull back to, yeah, right here. We don't see an expansion. We don't see an expansion. Unless Grubby's nuts and is like expanded up here. This means what? What's Grubby's army composition going to be like? And these, I mean, I think it might be difficult to, in a game, in the midst of all this, I mean, suppose you're killer and you're getting hit by attacks in like 1,000,001 different angles. You're like, oh my god, how do I defend this? Gotta get these units, I gotta stay alive. And it's really hard to stop and be like, and what is the result of the economy of Grubby's decision? It's really hard. But in between games, we can do this sort of analysis. If a Protoss is locked on 2 bases, then what? Really simple. He's low on gas. He just can't really have a lot of gas. He can't be getting a lot of Colossus and Templar and Sentries and upgrades. He's always going to have a reasonable amount of money, but until you get to 3 bases, you just don't really have that much gas. So, here's something interesting. Here's something interesting we're going to see. Out of cKiLLeR, who's going to be doing a really weird, funky decision in the midst of all this, gets a Spire for Mutalisks. Now, I want you just to think about this based upon his economy. What kills Mutalisks? Phoenixes. Can he have Phoenixes in this spot? Can he even get a Stargate? Hell no. He's low on gas, he's low on time. Can he get Templar? Templar are also good against Spire units. Well, no. This guy's low on gas, so he's probably not going to be able to do that and get Stalkers. So it's basically going to guarantee Stalkers. If my opponent does not have a third, his only defense against air is Stalkers. So in this weird situation where we're seeing kKiLLeR trying to go Hydra Roach to shove this army back, in the now, the Hydra Roach is an excellent answer for dealing with this sort of army. In the now, it can be in a couple places at once and barely keep us alive. In the now, we can apply pressure and make sure that he doesn't get a third base. But as our next step, the Spire is how we punish. So I just want to know, remember way back here at the 10-minute mark when I was saying, oh yeah, this attack forces roaches. So Grubby is starting now beginning to build Immortals. It's the exact same situation we see here. In the now, this attack is going to deny a third base. So as a follow-up, we're going to do something that punishes a 2 base. Really cool. Really, really nice. Wow. Are you cranking on up? Crank on up. Mothership Core comes out, sacrifices herself. Now let me just take a moment to appreciate how good Micro is. Oh my god. Now, if you're Grubby, you probably do this. If you're not Grubby, you struggle to do this. While this is all going on, yeah, expand, great, that's fine. But let's look at this Micro. Turn on the health bars. Actually, let me just select the health bars of the Protoss units. Pulling these Immortals back, splitting your lings up. That was pretty good. That was pretty damn good. Once again, the bug strikes where the in-game volume is way too loud. Hopefully Blizzard will fix this. Dropping it back down. There's a bug where if you do rewinding and re-fast forwarding in a game, the volume starts slowly increasing. I have no idea. Did you hear that spine crawler on Burrows, the loudest spine crawler known to man? So great, so kKiLLeR, for the first time this game. Alright, we might be disabling sound. Yeah, so for the first time this game, we're seeing a third base pop out from Grubby. For the first time ever. And this is what's always really difficult to deal with as a player, is the instant you feel like you've gotten back on your feet, your opponent strikes you with whatever is like the perfect thing. Your opponent hits you with what you are most worried about. So these Mutalisks pop in, and Grubby just does not have anything. Has to pull back and run. And these are some nice moves from Grubby, being able to push and retreat, but at the same time, I mean this Zergling Mutalisk thing, the thing that Grubby wanted to see least. And what were we also talking about? Alright, well, Stalkers are really the only thing that Grubby can build to defend. He's basically got to get Blink, or just got to get more Stalkers. And we can see that the only tech that Grubby's really produced the entire time is the Robo Bay. And now he's not even going to get to use it. So there's the kill off on the third base. And in this position, Grubby is not looking very good. I mean, he's shoved out. He's gotten some control of this situation, but he's kind of forced down an odd route. But now, here's one of the funniest things that we always end up talking about, but rarely does a good player actually do it. If you are feeling like you are behind, a very common risky move to take is hiding an expansion. So that's actually what we see Grubby do, and I will pull back and note exactly when this moment happened, where, okay, let me, come on, replay, work with me. Work with me, replay. Work with me. Yeah, so right here, when ＫiLLeR is, actually, I guess it was at the 16-minute mark. When KiLLeR was doing this aggressive shoving with all this Roach Hydra, I suppose it was even earlier than that, yeah. Happened in about 15 minutes. Blah, 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 all the stuff happens, explosions. While all this is going on, what do we say the whole point of this was? The whole purpose of this attack from KiLLeR was to deny a third, and then the Spire would exploit the lack of third, because the only thing that Protoss can make is gas. So down here, Grubby's like, alright, well if I can't get a third in a safe way, then let's pray that this third is stable. Here we go. Come on, Probe. Come on. Make me proud. Build that. Build that Nexus, Probe. Come on. Do it. Do it, Probe. Get in there. Come on. I believe. Hero Probe. Yeah. So finally here, when Grubby's actually in kind of the gross spot, look at this. KiLLeR has complete and total control over the expanding of Protoss. We'll almost certainly be able to re-expand in a moment with that excess map control. And there are always 3 things you should do when you're ahead. You identify yourself as ahead. There's 3 things you should do whenever you feel like you're ahead. Okay. 1. Check all the expansions. Check all the expansions. Check all of the expansions. Number 2, make sure you are not forgetting your upgrades. Get the damn upgrades. And 3, check the damn minimap and make sure you have all the vision points. Let's think about it. Number one, check for expansions. Make sure he's not doing some BS luck where he hides a base and you just don't scout it. You don't want to run the risk of missing something. That's why we do that. The second one, get ahead in upgrades. Why? We're winning now, so we want to make sure we're winning later. So we get our upgrades, which will make us stronger later. So we don't want to be missing those. 3, watch the minimap. This is the prevent BS harassment, prevent Warp Prism with DTs from sneaking in your base, prevent an attack from wandering somewhere, prevent a probe from hiding a pylon. Yes. Oh, yes. So KiLLeR we really like in this particular position. However, Grubby did a correct risk. One of the reasons why I was talking a little bit about those 3 things is that correct risks include trying to do risky drops, trying to shove out, and do risky expands. So KiLLeR's just going to continue to harass, to force the Stalkers to stay at home. Let me look at this. I'm at 2% and it's still getting louder. I have no idea. I've reported the bug to Blizzard. If any of you have experienced it, I encourage you to please report the bug. Otherwise, we're just going sound off. So KiLLeR, I really like this. Now, we've been talking a little bit about forcing. We've forced our opponent into Stalkers. He's likely going to get Blink. What then should we be making? Here's one of my favorite things of all. Here's one of my favorite things of all. Here is one of my favorite things of all. Lenok does this a lot. If your opponent is going to be going for a lot of stalkers, and you know he's low on gas, what should you go with? Banelings. Best thing ever. The best thing frickin' ever. I love mass banelings in this position. And that's exactly what kkILLeR does. We're forcing him on stalkers, and if he's going stalkers on 2-base, then he definitely can't be getting a lot of sentries, and he definitely can't be getting a lot of colossi, so he's got to be going for mainly stalkers, so we're just going to punish it like that. And unfortunately, kkILLeR. Fortunately, kkILLeR really can't do much. Alright, the sound's weird. Guys, we lost sound. Sound's gonna be gone for all time. Actually, I wonder if it resets. Let's do an experiment. Let's see if it's really loud when we come back. The game started at 18%. Let's find out. Oh my god! My ears. Alright, we're killing the sound. I have no idea why. See you later, sound. Makes it really hard to do a show where you have to rewind. God, that's terrible. Alright, so kkILLer's doing his smart thing. Grubby's doing essentially the smartest thing that he can, which is to go for these mass stalkers and this correct risky expansion. So I think that's a good place to stop for part 2. When we come back, we're going to examine the low econ situation that we see. In part 1, we talked a little bit about the forcing that was going on, the logic of the basic builds. In part 2, we saw the natural conclusions of those sorts of early game decisions and how both players sort of maneuvered around it. In particular, we saw the way that Grubby spread the bases out early so he could do multi-pronged attacks a lot more effectively in mid-game. We saw kkILLeR build up an army composition that was very strong at denying a third base for Grubby, and as a result, this Mutalisk transition. In part 3, we're going to see kkILLeR do all sorts of goody-goodness with his Mutaling, Baneling, and eventually find this base, and we'll find out how econ in low settings can be awesome.